I saw this at the store the other day, and I haven't tried it yet. So it's super sculpey firm, which is supposed to be perfect for texture for sculpting fine details. So I'm going to give it a try. I've had it out in the sun for about an hour, just as my cheat way of making sculpey nice and soft and extra easy to work with. Might be a little too soft, but it's worth a try. It's nice and toasty right now. So yeah, that's what we're gonna try today. So first impression, it does actually feel more like clay. So that's kind of exciting. Has that real sort of clay feeling, and oddly, it's sort of dry a little bit, like clay would be if I left it out in the sun. So, don't know if I love that part, but we shall see. It seems to be right up on top with the grooves. So, I don't know if that's just the way it sets inside the packaging or what, but I'm just going to take a really kind of ridiculously large size of it and see how it softens. So far, those clumps are still pretty hard, though. So far, I've been working it for about 5 minutes, and it still has like the dry bits on the top, which is kind of weird. Not sure how I feel about that. Or I guess I am sure how I feel about that. Not thrilled. As you can see, it's sort of a little crumblier than I would probably like. I'm trying to avoid using the softener because the whole point is that it's a firmer texture, right? And it's supposed to be for finer details. So why don't we just pull out one of my molds and take a chunk and see how much detail actually comes out. So let's do like the flower and then maybe the pineapple, just to see what it actually does, because the cracking seems pretty annoying right now to me. So I got my handy dandy knife, and just for good measures, I'm going to give it the benefit of all my energy here. Squish, squishy, squishy, squishy. And let's give it a okay. So still definitely a little on the crumbly side here. Let's just clean that up a little. I'm very sorry, mister. I somehow managed to cut my poor mold here just now. Okay, so let's give this a... So it's cracking while I'm trying to pull it out. So I am going to try and pull it back from the edges to see if I can sort of toughen it up a little. So, yes, there's texture, but I don't know that that's any different than what I normally would get out of the polymer, from the sculpey polymer. Let's see, let's try this guy. Ooh, it's a tough one. It's really crumbly. See all that? That's not pretty. I mean, the pineapple bottom, I take off the top, is not bad at all, but that is a mess. So that I am not impressed with. Well, so far this isn't going as I'd hoped. See if a little bit more sunshine helps. I might try adding just a tiny little bit of the transparent sculpey. I find that softens up most of the clays really well, though should not have to do that. That's really not bad, but that was very disappointing. So let's try that much transparent into this much of the clay. See if that helps enough. Certainly crumbly in a weird way. And there's a little bit on the counter here. It's not terrible, but you really see what it's doing here. Usually by this point, it's like really soft peanut butter. It's this sort of chunky peanut butter without the oil, for lack of a better descriptor. So I'm just going to try rolling it out. That was another 5 minutes of working the clay. So far we're at about 10 minutes. And it's much better than it was, but it's still a little drier than it should be. But we're going to give it a try, leaning into the drier product. Because again, the idea is that it is supposed to be firmer. But firm and dry are two different things, right? Okay. So I'm getting it pretty thin here. And I am just going to grab, let's see, my little tile cutters, and let's just give that a good little push down. Okay. Well, that actually cut really nicely, and those made actually quite pretty tiles. I could definitely do that for a little dollhouse. So for this one, I'm going to try doing a little thicker. This batch does not have any extra mix in, so this is really as it is. I cut it in half and tried to see if I could blend it. I don't know if you can see, but not the greatest at blending, and I worked it fairly well. So that's a little frustrating, but I'm going to try and use the travertine mold. So I might throw in a little bit of color, maybe I'll paint the color in after. And let's just give that a try. It's certainly taken a lot of my strength, that's for sure. Whew. Let's try working that through on the back side here. Harder than I thought it would be, which I guess is not the worst thing. Tend to have trouble with this mold in general, so. Not entirely sure how I'm gonna get them all out now. Okay, let's see. I guess I made them a little chunky there. As you can see, it's a real thick piece there. But it is quite pretty. It does look like clay. So that part is accurate. It's just the smoothing isn't quite as nice as clay would be, because you can't really use water. I'm going to have to, you know, either use the softener, which is not my favorite, maybe some liquid sculpey, but that will change the color. So there's something to be said either way. But I will continue popping these out. So here's my question. Who makes them this small? See how thick that is? My tools do not go that far. So trying to figure out how to get those out has been a little bit challenge. I might have to go get like a toothpick or something. But, you know, not exactly the easiest mold, that one. Yeah. But so far, this has come out really quite nice. It does have a very stone vibe, which is cool. As you can see how it cut on the side. So that's, I'm trying to decide what I want to do with it. But it's sort of stony, concrete-y look. So I've squished them sort of together, because some of them really didn't come out as nicely as they could have, because I had to push them out. That's not really the clay's fault. That's this mold, that travertine mold. So what I thought of using, I have this stamping mold, but I thought maybe I would stamp over it and then brush it so that the irregularities would be all right. So let's give that a go. And that did not exactly work out the way I'd hoped. Did that improve anything? Maybe doing it more like this, or have a little more control over my end effect. Gives you a little bit more like a natural stone finish there. These definitely need to be a different direction, I think. Here we go. Not entirely sure. What do you think? Now I can brush it with like mica powder. Oh, well, we give that a try. And what do we think? Some sort of iridescence like that. Let's take a fresh applicator. And give this a go. Do we like this? I'm not sure. more subtle than I normally would do for this. I kind of think it needs that. It needs to be squished together like that too. What do we think? Maybe a secondary color? So I've added a little bit of pink to it. And I've been smoothing it out as much as I can on the sides with the applicator. It seems to help. I am also switching it together, even though that's sort of not the look exactly. I might make this into a nice big centerpiece of a necklace. So if I keep working on reshaping it a little bit and switching it together, I might be able to get there. I think I might put a few more stampies on as I go, just to sort of see what it does. Maybe that was too far. Learning when to stop is important. I'll smooth that out a little. As you can see, it's not bad at fixing a little bit of the oopsie. Not all of it, but, you know, little bits here and there. Maybe I will even try doing something like this. So I think I'm giving up on this one, but I just realized that I could probably, it's probably what it's for, just to press it in, not push it all the way through. So I might just re-roll this out, squish it together the best I can, and pretend like this didn't happen, even though I'm going to let everybody see it, because it's important to see oopsies too. So I can't seem to get some of those cracks out, no matter how much I roll it. I added another piece to the back. But I guess if we're going to try to make it real travertine, I have an old leftover cane that I made. It's kind of a dried up mess, which would probably be great for this. It's got a couple pieces of it. And we're just going to sort of chop it up into little itty bitty bits. Irregular is key here. And as you can see, it's sort of dry and crumbly. Which is very much that sort of travertine-y, speckled vibe. I'm just going to spread it out throughout. Maybe one tiny little bit more of little bits of crumble. Or another one yet. Alright. Now we're just going to try and roll this roll it into it. It definitely has that stone tile separation look, which is kind of cool. Actually, I really like it. I might stop here. I should probably. Okay, so we're just going to push. Let's see if that works any better. Yes, in theory. So we'll take away so you're supposed to cut around it, I guess. I think I might just make some shapes. Well, let's go crazy. Nice big butterfly. It's kind of cool. No idea what I'm doing with this, obviously.